Hello, and welcome to Group 4's project presentation for the Scrum project. Our project will be entitled the Virtual Classroom Initiative, and I will explain exactly what that means here in a little bit. Our members are Dan Rees, David Lazenby, Tim Kane, Tim Goodenough, and myself, James Kennedy. All right, our idea for this project is to create a pilot program for online learning which will utilize virtual reality technology, such as Oculus Rift. The goal here is that we are looking to revolutionize online learning and to do it by way of virtual reality. The reason that this has value is that one of the weaknesses of online learning is that it is difficult for students to get one-on-one interaction with a teacher. A virtual classroom would replace discussion boards and other such things and allow for direct one-on-one communication between teacher and student in real time. The goals of this project are to obtain a pool of teachers that are willing to teach the students, to create software which supports the classrooms, and to obtain funding because virtual reality is quite expensive. Here are some user stories that will hopefully come to pass with this project. In terms of quality, it is important that the project be completed on time, and our parameter for this project is 3 months. And at the end of that 3 months, we hope to have a working beta program, not necessarily to have revolutionized all of online learning, but to just have a working beta to see if the idea is viable. The content of the project will be a high-quality virtual environment for classrooms. Teachers and students are able to connect to it reliably. It's more, I guess the goal here is to make it more reliable than iLearn, honestly. And to be able to record the sessions just in case a student is unable to meet at the scheduled time. There are a lot of risks with this project. If insufficient funding is raised, the project will fail. If, in other words, we are unable to effectively obtain and distribute sponsorships for virtual reality headsets and other such things, if for some reason the software development team is unable to generate the software, parents may not be willing to risk the education of their children on a beta program. There are many potential points of hardware and software failure. Virtual reality has inherent danger of motion sickness, and of course, the cost. Now, those are a lot of risks, but it's worth it because it has the potential to completely change how people learn online. A lot of people are turning to online school, and the quality that can be found in online school is good, but it doesn't hold like the same quality of teacher-student interaction that traditional schooling does, and this seeks to rectify it. All right, resources. Here are a list of potential interested investors. We thought of Microsoft because they are the owners and distributors of the and licensors of the Microsoft mixed reality technology. This is a virtual reality technology which has lower hardware requirements than such things as Oculus Rift or HTC Vive. We thought of the Department of Education to get a grant on the United States government in general to hopefully fund some aspect of it, be it the software engineers or the hardware or the servers, things of that nature. We thought of Facebook because they own Oculus Rift and they're always trying to give more applications to virtual reality. We thought of Samsung because of their Gear VR technology, which is a accessible mobile-based technology that is much more cost-effective than Oculus. And we also thought of Google because they have their own Daydream VR as well. Also, Google is pretty much made of money, and it's going to take a lot to get this to work. All right, in terms of human resources, we thought of finding volunteers for this study. The ability to utilize teachers from anywhere should get some interest from teachers that are, unable to work or find work in traditional ways, or live in a place where they teach like very small classrooms, and so they've got a lot of extra time, things like that. And also students. I know myself, I would be very interested in this project because of once again, the main issue of online learning. We did some research and determined that these are the approximate man hours required to complete this project, and the 4 different, varieties of individual that will be required on the software end. In the project manager and the programming team, and making sure that it works, we have testers and the logistics manager for distributing everything, including the virtual reality headsets, the logistics manager. We would also need to find a location, one office for admin staff, a server farm for storing the recordings of the sessions, as well as for people to connect to in the virtual reality classrooms, and various locations of students and teachers from remote locations. Again, another benefit of this potential project is that students and teachers can be anywhere. A teacher in California could be teaching a student from Rhode Island, Arizona, and Colorado at the same time. A lot of equipment will be required for this, particularly depending on the number of students that we get. There are various different virtual reality options out there. Currently, the most cost-effective, full-featured virtual reality is the Oculus Rift, and the most cost-efficient mobile virtual reality option is the Google Daydream. Another cost here of equipment is a laptop, perhaps a Microsoft Surface Book, or other such equipment that is powerful enough to run VR. And this would only need to be an option for people that do not currently have a VR-capable system. Software, specific capabilities for the teacher and the student. Teachers will be provided with moderator-level access. They would be able to mute disruptive students if necessary, or even kick them from a session if they continue to be disruptive. Students would have the ability to access recordings of the classes that they are in. And then multiple servers across the board to accommodate all these needs. All right, time. A lot of the time scenes of this project and why it fits so well in the Scrum model is that they can be completed simultaneously. For instance, the software developers can be working at the same time as we're training teachers and obtaining the pool of students. And we can also distribute the virtual reality at the same time as teachers are setting up their classes and things like that. All right. In terms of cost, it's there's a lot here. In terms of physical assets, we'll need to obtain virtual reality headsets both for testing and for students. We would need to have a laptop or a Microsoft Surface Book option for people that do not already have a VR-capable computer system, phones, things like that. And we also thought of the idea of making a deal with one of the sponsors, whoever's providing the VR, to have a interest-free payment plan option for those students that cannot afford to purchase such an expensive item up front. Human resources, the cost of recruiting teachers and administering to the faculty. We would be paying these teachers a competitive wage. Nobody expects a teacher to do this for free. Software and server development, a team of software devs, quality assurance specialists to make sure that it runs better than iLearn, and server engineers to maintain the servers and ensure that there are backups and to prevent crashes and to do regular maintenance on it. IT. We need people to help students and teachers set up and to troubleshoot potential problems with VR to mitigate that risk, and other specialists ready to help with the other complicated aspects of online learning. All right, the potential here, as I said earlier, is huge. We have potential to provide instant feedback from teacher to student. If a student has a question on the subject, they can just raise their hand virtually and ask the question instead of submitting an email and hoping that the teacher gets back in a timely manner. There's no need for inconvenient substitutions for conversation, such as discussion boards. Students would be able to just be grouped and have a conversation. In short, the virtual reality aspect of online learning would be able to integrate the social aspect of traditional school and potentially save costs in school lunches and other such things. But the most important goal here is to raise the quality of education for every student out there, regardless of location or financial situation. Speaking from personal experience, the quality of public education is not consistent across the board. It is different based on location. And if you are in a location where public school education is suboptimal, not up to standard, and you want a quality education, your only other option is private school, and that can be extremely expensive. This program has the potential to provide a high quality education for anyone, regardless of financial situation, regardless of location. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and yeah, let me know how I did.